Long ago, in a vast African savanna, where the golden grasses swayed with the wind and the sun kissed the earth with warmth, animals of all kinds lived in peace. Among them were two very different creatures: Tortoise, known for his wisdom, and Hyena, infamous for his greed. One day, news spread across the land that a great drought was coming. The river was drying up, and the animals began to worry. Food and water would soon be scarce. But Tortoise, slow and steady, had prepared for such times. He had dug a deep well near his burrow that was filled with fresh water, and his cleverness ensured he always had enough food. Hyena, on the other hand, had never thought to prepare. He spent his days chasing after easy meals and mocking those who worked hard, especially Tortoise. As the drought worsened, the grasses turned brown, the riverbeds cracked, and food disappeared. The animals struggled to survive, and Hyena soon grew desperate. He could smell the fresh water and ripe fruits that Tortoise had stored, but he knew that Tortoise was far too wise to give them away easily. One evening, as the sun set and the stars began to twinkle, Hyena visited Tortoise. He put on his best fake smile and said, "Oh, dear friend Tortoise, you are the wisest of us all. Surely you can share your water and food with me during these hard times?" Tortoise, seeing through Hyena's trickery, smiled and said, "Of course, Hyena. But first, you must prove yourself worthy. I will give you a test. If you pass, I will share everything with you." Hyena, blinded by greed, quickly agreed. "I will pass any test. Tell me what I must do." Tortoise pointed to a large baobab tree in the distance and said, "You must run to that tree and return before the sun rises. But there's one condition: you cannot look back at any time." Hyena laughed to himself. "That's easy," he thought. "Tortoise is so slow. He doesn't understand how fast I am." Without waiting for another word, Hyena sped off toward the baobab tree. As he ran, he could hear Tortoise's voice calling after him. "Remember, Hyena, do not look back." The farther Hyena ran, the louder Tortoise's voice seemed to become, and then he began to hear strange noises, crackling sounds, whispers, and rustling in the bushes. The sky seemed to darken, and the wind howled through the savanna. Hyena's heart pounded. "What if something is chasing me?" he thought. Fear gnawed at him. The temptation to turn back grew stronger with each step. Finally, unable to bear the tension, Hyena glanced over his shoulder. At that very moment, the earth beneath him began to shake, and he tripped over a hidden root, falling flat on his face. When he looked up, he saw that the baobab tree was still far away, and the sun was already rising. Defeated, Hyena limped back to Tortoise, who sat calmly by his burrow. "You looked back, didn't you?" Tortoise asked, though he already knew the answer. Hyena hung his head in shame. "I did," he admitted. Tortoise smiled gently and said, "Greed and impatience will always lead you astray. You may be fast, Hyena, but wisdom is what truly wins in the end." From that day on, Hyena learned to be more humble, and the other animals of the savanna respected Tortoise even more for his wisdom and generosity. And though the drought eventually passed, the story of the wise tortoise and the greedy hyena was told for generations, a reminder to all that patience and foresight are the greatest strengths of all.